Helen and Raina graduated high school in the same year, the stars bright in their eyes and fate upon them. In those final years of high school, everything blossomed. Teenage love, them against the world, dancing in those ballerina shoes, twirling on the cobblestone path. Then school ended, and reality hit. The path turned into thin wire, and with the two of them on there, one was bound to fall. Not a great start in the first place. The two parted to different locations, and what they thought was love dissolved into the oblivion of teenage hormones and simply just taking things too fast. Raina was never good at keeping things that weren't in front of her heart. Days passed, and the Skype calls grew more infrequent. The person the other knew in high school had become hardened and deformed. Constellations swimming in Helen's eyes became the strings attached to hastily made decisions. Roses woven into crowns on Raina's head became the change attaching her to her previous affairs. They grew unfamiliar with each other, yet it seemed they still fell apart without. Two girls, one broken. Two girls, one gone. Raina bounced from person to person to fill the void, and her counterpart turned to the unfathomable. Both wandered about, and Raina found herself getting into prostitution, her education wasted from the reputation she earned. Beaten was she, worn down. Helen there constantly came close to OD, jeopardizing herself. Pink hair faded to gray too quickly, much too quickly. One day, somebody wanted revenge. Life needed its toll. The van that held her was clunky. The ties that bound her wrist hurt. Raina cried out. Nobody heard her. The filthy little prostitute who loved someone she didn't even know anymore. She was beaten more for her choices. What happened to those ballet shoes? One pair was worn to strands, and the other went up in flames, with a single echoing shot. Helen had been thinking about Raina a lot. During those times, she remembered faintly the path, jarred by doses of heroin and faded by her highs. She did want to see her. So she did, putting on her dancing shoes, preparing. Raina's home was empty. Perhaps a few days passed from then, and the last pair of shoes were almost broken. But walking in that alleyway at 2 in the morning had its advantages. The shoes still fit, right? So she did find Raina, and let herself be traumatized and stabbed by the memories, clubbed over the head by the picture. That Tuesday, Helen and Raina were together for one last time. Warm skin against cold skin, smooth hands against mutilated, life with death. Raina's body was identified by the BAU and the FBI that following Monday. Her funeral was hosted in a cemetery back home, and Helen didn't bother to go. Nobody really knew what happened to her after that day. Her only love laid 6 feet under, and unknowing that there really was a second chance, but the path crumbled, and the dance was forgotten. Both pairs of shoes from the love-sickened days were reduced to ashes eventually. Whether they met again or never got to say their last recitations of passion is a question of philosophy. But once upon a time, there were 2 pink-haired girls, and life just happened to cross their path.